What is up, everybody? D-Man back, and today I'm gonna try and make this video a lot shorter than the last one because the last one took forever. So today we're gonna be talking about something that was suggested to me in a way by Oscar Hernandez, someone who subscribed to me on YouTube. And if you're watching this video, I'm sorry it took me about 3 months to get this out to you, but you know, I'm lazy and I don't want to make videos often, but I still do, don't I? Anyways, guys, today we are going to be talking about what is better, who is better, King Kong or Godzilla. So first I'd like to say that both Godzilla and King Kong are still huge influences in my life today, and it doesn't really matter who I like more or less because either way I like them both a ton. They're both two of my favorite things in the world. They're up there with The Walking Dead. If you guys have looked at my channel, you'd know that by now. So yeah, overall they're pretty big in my life. So ever since I was a little kid, eating straight sugar from the jar, spoonfuls every day, it just give me a good pep in my step. And then after I do that, instead of having lunch like a normal child, I would just consume a 5-pound bag of gummy worms. Yeah, that was an actual thing I did once. I wouldn't recommend it. After a while, the gummy worms got hard, and I had to wind up putting water in the bag, which wound up getting them all stuck together, and it was a big mess. So, there you go, kids. You learned from my mistakes. Don't make the same ones as me. So anyways, ever since I was a little kid doing all that stuff, I had been going to this amazing, fantastic place called Hollywood Video. You may have heard of it. It is the biggest home video rental place in the world. And that is actually where I got certain copies of my Godzilla movies, such as Godzilla vs. Megalon and Godzilla vs. Biollante, 2 VHSs that are still in my room. Yeah, VHSs. I have yet to get them on DVD or Blu-ray. Anyways, I'd go to this place called Hollywood Video, and every single time I went, I rented one thing. That was The Mighty Kong. Yeah, it was a King Kong cartoon. It was a musical, and I didn't really remember much of it until recently when I found it at a garage sale, and I had to buy it. It's also in my room right now, just like Godzilla, Biollante, and Megalon. So anyways, I would rent this every single time, and I loved this movie. I loved King Kong. He was my favorite thing in the world. And then, tragedy struck. Hollywood Video closed. I went out of business. My life was a wreck. It was all over the place. I didn't know what to do with myself. Man, looking back on those days, memory. It's been, most of it has been blocked out. It is truly just one of the worst experiences anyone could have ever gone through. Their favorite store being closed. Anyways, at this time I still had the world's best movie in my opinion, which was King Kong, the 76 version. I think it's the 76 version if I'm not retarded, if I still got that year right. I think it was made in 76. Yeah, that was my favorite movie in the world. You may be asking, but weren't there other King Kong movies out at the time? I mean, if Hollywood Videos are already closed, then that means King Kong had pretty much had his entire run-through in the world, didn't he? Well, sort of. I mean, the King Kong 76 movie was truly my favorite. I thought the effects were great, even though that didn't really matter to me as a kid, but still, I thought that was an actual giant ape in front of me. I wasn't like I was with the 33 version where I knew it was fake. Anyways, guys, the reason that I did not like those movies was very simple. Number one, King Kong vs. Godzilla, my favorite movie of all times. I didn't consider a King Kong movie. I consider that a Godzilla movie. I still do to this day, even though his name comes first in the title. Godzilla is part of his series. King Kong 33, though, first of all, as a little 4 to 5 year old, even I knew that the effects looked fake, and not to mention, it was black and white. That was a big no-no for me, because black and white movies were often boring and scary. So I didn't like that movie. That also ruled out Godzilla King of the Monsters, because I was in no mindset to watch the Japanese version. I couldn't even read simple Dr. Seuss at the time. 2005 version, that was also just too scary for me. At the time, even though I thought the King Kong parts were amazing, and that was one of my favorite movies of all times, I could never get past the part with the natives. The natives really just scared me off of that movie, and so I stuck with the 76 movie for most of my young childhood. But now was a time to change. Now Blockbuster Video entered my life, and every week I would go. After eating McDonald's, I'd go to Blockbuster Video, your favorite store in the world. Every Friday night, I would go to Jump Street. If you don't know what Jump Street is, it's basically like the most dangerous place in the world. Basically, kids just are flung around on a trampoline world, and they can get very injured. I mean, I would twist an ankle and nearly break my leg off every time I went. So I'm sure you guys did great, just because I was a little idiot back then. Yeah, I don't know if you guys even have those where you are, or if they're even called the same thing, but mine was called Jump Street. And don't get me wrong, that first picture I showed you was not the kind of Jump Street I had. I mean, the Jump Street I went to was more of like a warehouse that they just slapped the logo onto and put a couple trampolines in. That was pretty much what I went to. And don't get me started on that crappy Pump It Up place. That place was terrible. That's why I had to go to Jump Street, was because Pump It Up was like pretty much discount Jump Street, and I did not like that. So anyways, back to Blockbuster Video, the world's greatest place in the world. Every time I was there, I would rent certain movies, and those movies were Godzilla vs. Gigan and Godzilla vs. Hedra. Yes, those were two of my favorite movies to rent from Blockbuster. Every time I went, I would find them immediately if they hadn't been checked out, which they rarely ever had. I would rent them, and I would watch them. And the discs eventually got ruined by me, so the movies faded out of the Blockbuster because of me. Anyways, at this time, I had a discovery phase. I was discovering all of my Godzilla movies that either were on cable, or my dad had from VHSs from way back when, or you know, whatever. So I mean, Godzilla Final Wars, I can still remember the day my dad found it on demand, and he came and showed me it, and it was like a dream come true for me. Meanwhile, I was watching all of my favorite Godzilla VHSs, especially Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla and Godzilla vs. Gigan. I mean, don't get me wrong, Mothra vs. Godzilla is a great movie, but back then that movie was too slow-paced for me, and Monster Zero always made me feel bad for Godzilla and Rodan when they got left on Planet X or whatever it was called. Anyways, guys, it was about this time in my life when King Kong faded from relevance. I stopped caring about him because Godzilla had taken over. Anyways, there were still King Kong movies that I liked at the time that I would still watch. In particular, King Kong vs. Godzilla and King Kong Escapes, which, as I said, I considered King Kong vs. Godzilla to be just a Godzilla movie that had King Kong in it, and I always considered King Kong Escapes to be a sequel to that, even though I know it's somewhat supposed to be, but there's a lot of errors continuity-wise if that actually is a sequel. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is I never considered that movie to be a real King Kong movie. I always just considered that to be an extension of the Godzilla world. So now I was a bit older, now I'm 7, now I'm a little 7-year-old enjoying life. Going through my day-to-day business. Blockbuster closed, and that was the saddest times of my life. Seeing that empty building was, truthfully, a terrible experience. And that was the death of my childhood. Enough crying. We have a video to get back to. Anyways, it was around this time in my life when I was discovering brand new Godzilla movies that would just make my life so much better. In particular, Ghidorah the Three-Headed Monster was one that I found, and that was actually my very first Godzilla movie I ever saw the Japanese cut of. Destroy All Monsters was one of my more recent ones that I found. And I was discovering the entire Heisei series as I went along. Originally, I just had a double feature pack of Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla and Godzilla vs. Destroya. Those were the only two that I had ever seen. Then I picked up Biollante from somewhere or other, but like I said, it is from Hollywood Video. I just didn't get it directly from there. Then after a while, I got the double feature pack of Godzilla vs. King Ghidorah and Mothra Godzilla Battle for Earth. Also, I found a couple years later, this is way more recent, I got Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla 2, and this year around Christmas time I finally picked up 1984/85.
Madness, Godzilla Thought.
And it was all because I found this thing called Cinemassacre's Monster Madness. At the time, it had been posted about a year before when I found it, but I found the entire I guess you could say season. I found the entire season posted on the Cinemassacre site, and I watched it a million times. There was new footage of Godzilla movies I didn't even dream of in that series, so it was very exciting for me, and it kind of led the search for Godzilla movies for me. Fast forwarding a few years, we're gonna get into the hype train. Yes, the hype train that I experienced was fueled by 3 YouTube channels. Pretty much 3 YouTube channels. ETN played a small part in there, but Cinemassacre, like I said, with the Monster Madnesses that I'd watch on a pretty much yearly basis at least. I found Zazubar. It's a great channel. I'm still subscribed. I'm still subscribed to all three, but found Zazubar, and that was very interesting for me because at the time I'd never watched a podcast before. This is back in 2014. And Gorzard, at the time he was called Gorzard10, I found his channel and watched his top 15 kaiju movies that him and Adam Noyce did. And I watched that video almost every week because I'd watch it anytime I did chores, and it's my favorite video on YouTube. Probably still is if they didn't take it down, if they didn't take his channel down. Anyways, now 2014, the movie had come out, and that had influenced my love for Godzilla even more. That was my very first Godzilla movie in theaters, so it plays a very important part of my life, and that's one of the reasons that I love the movie as much as I do. Because let's face it, the movie has lots of problems, but I look past them entirely just because of nostalgia reasons, honestly. So 2014 really was the nail in the coffin. That's really what made me pretty much give up King Kong ever. Not that I necessarily gave him up. He's still, like I said, one of my favorite things. And it was around like 2008, I started giving the 2005 movie and the 1933 movie a chance. I started giving black and white movies a chance, but even the fact that I was watching 2 King Kong movies, which I rarely ever watched at that point, plus the addition of King Kong Lives, the sequel, and Son of Kong, that didn't make the difference because there were still dozens more Godzilla movies that were being introduced into my life on a yearly basis, which is kind of the reason that I like Godzilla more, is because there's more variety, more to choose from. So anyways, fast forwarding another couple years, we wind up here with Shin Gojira. This movie is highly anticipated by me specifically. If you guys didn't know, I posted about a 40-minute reaction review on my YouTube channel, pretty much hyping myself up for this movie. Now I'm super excited. I think it's going to be amazing. I think it's going to be a great movie. I can't wait to see a Suitmation Godzilla movie in this current day and age. I think it should be amazing. But let's not forget, there are still other movies coming out, in particular Skull Island, which has sparked my interest in King Kong again. Not that I have forgotten him entirely, like I keep saying, I still love King Kong, it's still one of my favorite things. But Skull Island kind of is the thing that makes me go, okay, King Kong is happening again. It's not a dead franchise. There will be variety. I will get another chance to love a new King Kong movie. And also the fact that we just got the world's most great show in the world called Kong, King of the Apes. And it is on Netflix. It's a Netflix series. I've done my review for the first episode. I haven't watched the second one yet because it is just that fantastic that I don't even think I can go through the second episode without my heart beating and exploding with anticipation and excitement for episode 3. So I've given it a break for a while because it is just that great. So anyways, guys, Skull Island looks like it should be good. Hopefully it's good. Hopefully this isn't what makes me go, alright, King Kong can't be done unless they're retelling the same story, apparently. Hopefully this is what makes the world go, oh yeah, you can tell a story with King Kong that doesn't involve him climbing the Empire State Building with Andaro / Dwan, whatever you want to call her, from whichever version you're watching, and then dying at the end by falling off the building. No, you can do it differently. You don't have to bring him to society. He can show up to society. He can be a giant monster. That's what he is. So anyways, guys, I hope that movie's good. I hope that kind of is a breath of fresh air into the King Kong franchise. Not that it necessarily needs one, just that I would like some difference in the movies. And I think we all could use that. And anyways, guys, it doesn't really matter if King Kong or Godzilla is better because we will know who's stronger. That will kind of influence who's better in the 2014 movie because I don't consider the ending of King Kong vs. Godzilla to be definitive. They left it open for a reason. They were going to do a sequel that they never got to do. So I think this movie should be the definite answer, this character in this continuity, this character in this specific version is stronger. And I don't know, guys. Really what I'm just trying to say is that movie looks amazing. That will influence me. If King Kong is way cooler than Godzilla in that movie, then maybe Godzilla will take a break for me, but really it goes in phases, if you couldn't tell. I started out loving Kong more, now I love Godzilla more. Who knows, maybe in another 10 years I'll think Godzilla's kind of boring, be moved on, and be all into Kong. It really changes depending on the year. So, anyways guys, thank you all for watching. That is the end of this video. D-Man,